Spring is finally here in Southern New Hampshire, and so is the hot real estate market. So finally coming out of winter and starting to feel some of this nice weather, well, the home buyers and home sellers are finally coming out of hibernation. We're starting to see some more inventory hit in the market, and we're also seeing some more buyers actually become active again after a little bit of a down spell during the winter. Nobody really wants to move during the winter months and deal with the whole selling process and actually having to get a moving truck while there's a foot of snow outside. Let's not do that. So sometimes it's just cyclical, and you see this happen a lot in the real estate market, especially where you're actually in a location that gets snow during the winter instead of like California where yes, it's winter, but nothing really changes. So out here stuff changes and you do see it slow down a little bit, but it's starting to pick up again. And in this video, I'm going to be going over some numbers, showing you a little bit of what's actually happening and how to kind of show what that means in looking while you're either buying or when you're selling, because it can present kind of different opportunities in each section. So I'm going to get right into those kind of numbers and give you a little bit more background info. Hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Moynihan. I'm a real estate agent and investor based here in Keene, New Hampshire. And if you are looking to buy, sell, or invest around the area, please feel free to reach out. Even if you just have a question, just feel free to shoot me a DM or a text, whatever works. All my info is pretty accessible, and I'd be more than happy to help you out and see if I can point you in the right direction or just get you the answer and help you out that way. But without further ado, let's dive right into kind of some market statistics for Cheshire County. All right, so a few things before I dive into the numbers. One, my computer is over on this side. I'll probably be looking at it a few times just to get the numbers for you. And the other thing is when I'm doing these statistics, it's for Cheshire County in specific. Of course, that's a town that Keene's in, but since Keene's kind of a smaller city, it's hard to really tell what's happening from such a small number thing. Even here, the numbers are kind of small because Cheshire County isn't as active as some of the other counties in New Hampshire, but it's the one I cover the most of. I do cover parts of Cheshire County, well, actually all of Cheshire County, all of Hillsborough County, and some of Sullivan County. So I kind of stick in that corner of the state of New Hampshire. I can help all over New Hampshire because I know other agents all over. So if you are looking out there and still have a question, feel free to reach out. But I want to kind of preface this by saying, one, my computer's over here, and two, these are going to be for Cheshire County. So the first statistic we're going to look at is year over year, comparing both Marches for each year. So 2022 versus 2023. And as you can see, the closed sales are actually up over 20%, which means, of course, more houses are selling. And the days until the sale has actually went down from 37 days to 33 days, which means homes are actually selling and closing faster, which is always a good thing to do. This could be a little bit because there are some cash transactions that don't take the full 45 days like most mortgages do. Now, if you look at the year-to-date section, this shows all the transactions across the county from year to date, so covering all the previous months. And the thing that you really want to look at here that actually proves that the market is heating back up is 127 sales so far this year. Because last month in February, that number was only at 70 sales, which was actually down 30% from the year prior. So February 2022 versus February 2023 was down 30% in sales. And now being in March, we're only down about 14%. And you can see that the market's finally starting to pick back up. We're starting to close more sales because guess what? More houses are hitting the market. So there's more inventory to actually buy for these buyers that have been looking for a while. Another statistic to look at here is actually home prices are still continuing to rise around the Cheshire County area, with last year the median sales price being around $290,000, and now as of this year, year to date, we're at about a little over $306,000, which is actually up over 5% in a year, which still is not bad. Of course, that has to do with some inflation that's been happening over the past couple months, but the good news is like even if you bought a couple of years ago, your house is still going up, even though some people thought you bought at the peak. Now we're going to actually look at the list price received compared to the original. And for the first one, from comparing the two Marches, it's not much of a change. It's down 0.9%. And then if you look at year over year data, comparing the last few months of this year to the first few months of the year prior, we're actually down 3.4% from a little bit over 100%, meaning that houses were selling at least at list, if not at least a little bit more all the time. Now we're down to about 96.7%, meaning that you are starting to see some houses actually sell for less than it's listed at. And there are a couple of reasons why this is. One is because depending on the property, you can have some room to negotiate when you're first putting in your offer. Now, two is it's because a lot of realtors are kind of confused in the market and listing at whatever price the seller wants to list at, because honestly, they just want the listing, which I don't blame them, but it kind of disrupts some of these numbers because you're looking at them and some of these listings, they just put at a astronomical number, hoping that they're going to create a lot of hype because they're like, wow, this must be a nice property. No, it's worth what it's worth. And it's going to be sitting there getting price drop after price drop after price drop until it meets what the market's going to pay for it. And then once the market figured out what is paid for it, then you'll start getting some offers. But again, you've missed that hype period where if you listed it at what it's worth, or maybe even a touch below, that's where you get all those eyes that can actually see your listing. And that's where you draw these multiple offers in because you priced it properly. And when you're looking at these prices, is a lot of them, if it's like 350 and below, that's kind of the first time home buyer realm. So if you're listing them where they should be in that price range, they're gone. They're quickly gone in this market still with multiple offers. But if you're listing a $300,000 house at 425, it's gonna sit. It's as simple as that. Unless you're willing to take a complete lowball offer, that house is gonna sit. And that's what sometimes skews these numbers. And with all that being said, you do see some like weird things happen in the market. Like I had a personal buyer of mine was under contract for a property that was on the market for probably 3 to 6 months, somewhere in there, for a long time. And even in this market, that's a long time. And we had it under contract for about 15,000-ish below what it was listed for at that time. That's disregarding all the price drops they had prior to that. We had it under contract, something happened, it fell through, no fault of anybody really, it was some other thing that happened. After that, house goes back on the market because it's not under contract with us. Still listed at the price that we didn't even have it under contract at, we had it under that, and then somehow the house sells for $15,000 above what it was listed at. That's a $30,000 swing on a house that's been sitting at one price for like 6 months. So you do see some like weird outliers here that is like, sometimes they ask for the realtor's opinion. And as a realtor, I give my best opinion. But again, it's an opinion. We're looking at market numbers. Who knows? You can be looking at a house that's $250,000. Your buyer's like, well, what's a good offer? Well, from what I can tell, it looks pretty popular. So let's go X number over. Who knows? Maybe you can get a cash buyer from California that's willing to pay $300,000 for that, because in California, guess what? It would have been $950,000. So he's like, who cares? I'm still getting way under what I usually pay. So like, there's just outliers that are sometimes hard to account for. And I just want to kind of say that up front, because like that scenario I had, it was weird. It was really weird. When I saw the close price, I was like, what? I had it for under that. Like after it was sitting. It's just, some things are a little strange with that. But with all that being said, and I ran through a couple numbers there, I don't want to drown you out with numbers. So what I'm going to say is, with me being in real estate all the time, I'm in this thing every day doing this. And the market's hot. You can tell, especially when a house is priced properly, they're going. They're going fast. They'll even have delayed showings like they did back in the pandemic years, where it was like delayed showings till X. And then they accept an offer before that because people are still putting in those offers. And it's like come down a little bit. You're not seeing as dramatic of like 30, 40, 50,000 over, depending on the area you're in. But you will see some that are a couple thousand above, maybe 5, 10, 15 if it's a really good deal. Stuff like that you'll see. And if you're a seller, now is still a pretty hot market, as you can see with the stats I just showed you. And kind of what I'm telling you is like, if you're a seller, and if you actually want to sell your property for decent money, you still can. But please just don't overprice your property. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot by overpricing your property. Because instead of having, like, even if your house is great, but you overprice it, you're just not going to draw the crowd that you need. So either, well, you should just listen to your realtor, the professional in the picture that you're hiring to sell the house. Like, If you're hiring someone, you're hiring them because of their expertise. So you want to listen to their recommendation and kind of take it to heart. Like, yes, I understand you have connections with your house and you have a history with your house, but that house is worth what the market says it's worth. It's that simple. It's that cut and dry. So for me, if I was a seller, I would listen to what my realtor says to list it at and maybe even go a touch below, because then you're driving up that interest and getting those more eyes and actually having people come to your open house and getting multiple offers, hopefully, so you can decide which one's best for you. But that pretty much wraps up my market update. Again, I'm not trying to drown you out with numbers. I just want to show you the little things that are happening and the trends that means. Like, yes, we had a slow start to this year. You can't deny it. There were 70 sales. And then boom, it rockets up in March. And we're starting to see that more and more because people are listing their houses more and more. One, because of spring. Another thing to keep in mind is it's getting closer to the end of the school year. So this is where a lot of families, if they're going to move, this is when they want to move. They want to move during the summer months where they don't have to worry about pulling their kids out of school, switching them to a whole nother school, having them start classes. They don't want to deal with that. So they'll hold the house, wait until summer, sell during summer. And a lot of these like houses you're seeing right now, some of them have, like, yes, they're listing now, but no closing until June or whenever their kid gets out of school, because they know, like, I'm not going to pull my kid with 3 weeks left in school or whatever. I know it's more than 3 weeks, but time flies when you're an adult. But so it's just little things like that to keep in mind. And we are going to keep seeing more inventory hit the market and some more buyers come in because of that. But again, with that being said, my name is Shane Moynihan, real estate agent and investor based out of Keene. And if you have any questions about this, any question about buying, selling, investing, real estate, just any of it, maybe even just a certain question about New Hampshire, I can try to help you. I'm a New Hampshire native, so I know my area pretty well. And the market's definitely heating up, and it's really getting to be a good opportunity for some buyers because they're actually seeing houses that they can purchase, unlike seeing one come up a week. And now sellers are starting to see a little bit more demand if they want to sell. Some of them have that low interest rate that they don't want to get rid of, and it's understandable. But if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest, reach on out to me. And with that being said, I will catch you next week.